What do you think happens next? I mean, how serious does this get? And in a Congress that can't even agree to keep the government open and funded, do you think that they can actually reach bipartisanship when it comes to something like tech regulation?
You know, I attend events like Davos in some ways to see where the winds are blowing. And this year, the winds are blowing towards confusion. And it's confusion about both the problems and the solutions. 3 years ago, I think we thought tech was the answer. This year, it's a lot about, is tech the problem? 2 years ago, we had a new set of leaders who were going to solve populist problems with populist answers. They're almost not here this year. And this year, there's a market which has gone totally crazy in terms of volatility, totally different from a year ago. So confusion seems to reign.
The confusion, I can understand people here being confused. There's so many different prevailing things, but it also doesn't help that you don't have a lot of administration officials here either to try and figure out what happens from it. You think if they were here, it'd be more clarity, or you just think this is confusion that reigns?
One of my favorite terms of the week was the politics of chaos. So around the world, we traditionally looked for politics to provide structure. And as businessmen, we're seeing politics actually adding chaos into the equation. So I'm not sure it would have added a lot right now at a time that Brexit is stalled and the government is closed.
Last year, when we were talking about the economic cycle, you talked about thinking about it a little bit like a party. I think it was a bit after midnight is where you put it last year. Where are we now?
You know, I was trying to explain this to my kids, and I said last year that the economy was like a fraternity party. It was 2 a.m. It had been going well. Monetary policy had been driving it. And suddenly someone came in with a new keg called fiscal policy. It's now a little closer to 4. Late in a party, people start doing strange things. Volatility in the marketplace, chaos in Washington. Doesn't necessarily mean you leave the party, but it certainly moderates your behavior.
It means the sun's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
I was going to. You're going to do the walk of shame if you're not at it.
As an investor, you don't want to do the walk of shame.
I was going to ask you the average age at the party, because when you said midnight, I'm thinking.
That's past my bedtime.
Again, I'm thinking, you know, college.
It's a fraternity party, right?
At a frat party, yeah, you're just getting.
Absolutely.
But now we're at 4 a.m. That's, you know, you should go home at 4.
But to play that out, I mean, is that a stretch to say the party's very near the end and you don't want to get caught in this, or do you think there's still opportunity that's out?
Yeah, there's two things that are clear to me. First of all, absolutely, we're a day closer to the end than we were yesterday. But secondly, while the numbers are not necessarily bad when I look at them day to day, I'm seeing the seeds of the cracks being planted. And the question is, how fast will they grow and when will they germinate?
Would you buy anything right now, or is this just harvest and sell?
We're generally a little more towards harvest, but there are things to buy. But what you buy today is different than you might have bought 6 or 7 years ago. And we're very careful to stay out of neighborhoods where you might get mugged.
You know, I know exactly what you're saying, politics is chaos, but the latest, Venezuela, it's like welcome chaos. I mean, you're at rock bottom where you were. So the possibility that something good is happening down there, and with China, okay, it couldn't get much worse in terms of intellectual property theft and so all of these things could be, they're getting disrupted for a reason. There's chaos for a reason, and it might be positive
Absolutely.
chaos.
For me, as a long-term investor, this is actually creates opportunities.
There you go.
So as a short-term investor, confusion's a bad thing. As a long-term investor, I always say that when it feels bad, it's good.
When the prices
so when everyone has exactly the same view, it's hard to differentiate yourself. When you can sort through chaos, that, Joe, is in fact an opportunity.
But the end result could be better than the status quo that resulted in the
change is both good and bad, depending on where you look at it.
Believe me, I don't like change.
But for me, one of the interesting messages also this week is with the NGOs on the sideline, the governments on the sidelines, we've seen a lot of the conference here turn towards business to drive change.
That's interesting.
And that question of how business will participate in this change while still keeping its capitalist tendencies is, I think, one of the interesting questions I'm taking home.
Interesting. You think it's possible to have success in that?
Yes. For example, what do you invest in today? A lot of the investing we're doing today are in things that are actually driving societal change. So we believe that things that will drive change actually can also drive returns. And if we're going into a period where change is needed, change will be valued.
You did not invest in Juul. You had an opportunity to. You knew the CEO. You decided to pass on that, and it looks like a pretty good decision given some of the chaos that company's gone through recently and the pressures they've seen from the FDA. Is that another reason for?
I think it goes to this new era where people are looking for companies to have their values. You can argue the values might be, but they're looking for companies to have their values. This was a company that we respected in terms of some of the disruption they were creating. It's a story, but the actual product and what it was going to do to society just did not fit who we were.
Because you think they're marketing to children?
Whatever they're marketing to, the usage was not something we wanted to participate.
We just showed a list of a number of your big investments, Uber and Airbnb among them. 2019, the expectation is that both of those companies may go public. What do you think of this marketplace for that? And by the way, in an environment where you're talking about harvesting, on the public side, do you think the public should say, well, there's something wrong with this cycle? If this is the end of the cycle, if everyone's getting out at the end of the cycle, do I want to be holding this bag?
Well, two things. First of all, it's a little hard to get public when you don't have an SEC that's open.
Right.
And secondly, to the type of investments we're doing today, we're trying to do investments where the industry dynamics will overcome the overall economic picture. So the dynamics of Uber and Airbnb, what's happening in the change in society, change in their usage, will overwhelm what's going to happen in the economy. And those are the type of investments you're looking for today,
In
whether
just about
public
every
or private.
company.